Hi everyone, nice to meet you here. And thank you, Red Hat and partners for supporting this. Okay, Banfico. So I'm CEO at Banfico. Banfico is a niche open banking solution provider in the market globally. As we started in London and we are actually global now. And we give few products in open banking, something to make the banks compliant. And then we also help them to aggregate data, and we have other offerings as well. And obviously, the open banking is a kind of a word that flourishes, like that's going across the globe. Everyone seems to be adopting open banking, and it keeps coming back in the financial sector. It's probably an opportunity to do an API management, API economy. They're all looking in that direction, and also in a way it helps in digital transformation. So we give open banking platform to the banks. We serve it as SaaS or on premises or on their public cloud or on their OpenShift, existing OpenShift. But today we will probably concentrate more on what we offer as a SaaS service. And we have some of the large banks as our clients, and they are running in a SaaS service. And the mandate on security, governance and availability support, all of that is crucial for the banks. And for us, we had been previously running in more of a Kubernetes. Also, we used OKD in the past, but when ROSA was available, we were one of the early adopters of ROSA. And since then, we had been going strong, and it really helped us in many ways, I would say. When we get a security questionnaire from a large bank, and I don't know if you have been in that situation, and having an enterprise partner like Red Hat and ROSA really helped. But yeah, just on the open banking platform itself, it's if I hope you know open banking. If not, it's just banks have to expose the APIs for all the user functions, so that the bank customer can leverage the banking experience through a third party. So the banking features through a third party. I'm sure you might have used it, but because it's picking up, but you may not know it's going through open banking, these channels and integrations and all of that. So we help. We sit on the bank side, so which means we have to do. We run it in a SaaS service, and then we have to do the integration with their core infrastructure, and then we have to do some, authentication and all of that. We do some delegation to them, and we help them to complete the user journey. So that's typical open banking. But probably we will not go too much into that of the domain, but I will let Pedro give some high level, the technical side of it, how we are using it. To you, Pedro.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, this is our high level architecture. So as you can see, we are using ROSA as our OpenShift cluster, and we are also using the RDS instance. This one is managed by us, and as you can see in this high level architecture, that is one in the current region. In this case, it's our current region, and there's a replica in our DR region. If there is any disaster, we can actually switch to the DR region. We can see in the next steps. So basically, we can see we can see the infrastructure, what has been provided to ROSA, and making our OpenShift cluster as security. So we can see the AWS shields. And there are a couple of things here what we can we can see like our GitLab CI/CD, which is pushing the images inside the OpenShift, and there is a bank connection as well using MTLS and etc. This is a high-level architecture. Maybe we don't need to show a deep information. Maybe we can go to the next.
And just to add, we do, even though ROSA offers us the, high availability and all of that, in banking customer situation, we still have to set up a DR in a different region. So that's something we do constantly replicate the database and then the EFS volume and all of that as well. So it tries to give us a high availability, and we had been asked to run a lot of dry runs in this process. And it's all automated. Pedro and team have automated the whole setup. They kind of, when a region goes down, I mean, obviously we don't expect, but if it goes down, we were able to, get our, we have, I don't know if you've heard of the RTO kind of, time objectives in the DR. But running this is, we have other points to discuss, but I'm just saying, this kind of gives us the full scale automation and then the readiness to deploy in another region. As Phil was saying, it takes 20-25 minutes, but we always have a, standby DR running there, a cluster, running there. And these are something, Petro, we would like to share from, so some of the main items that we had been, how ROSA and us work together, or the technology, what we use, and all of that. So, Petro, if you want.
Sure. So we are using GitLab and GitLab CI to build and release our built images. So regarding the CI/CD, for example, we are using the GitLab operator. What actually operators are really nice because make easier to enable functionalities on the OpenShift cluster, because we can quickly create some functionalities like GitLab Runner, or in our case, EFK stack. And if the operator, it's an advanced operator, for example, it should be really readable, because it's handle the upgrades, and if there is any fail, the operator should be able to fix that, etc. So operators is really nice. Regarding the security side, the ROSA solution has a ISO 27001 certification. So it's really good to make our information security compliant. And another thing what is really nice, it's the fully managed infrastructure. So as we know, it's a good point to keep it in mind, because ROSA is managing all the Red Hat SRE engineerings are managing all the infrastructure. And regarding the security and regulation compliance, for example, ROSA is handling this security and regulatory compliance is handling by Red Hat SRE as well. So it's really nice. And I've already regarding the AWS Shield, for example. So AWS Shield and firewall rules and etc. Everything is in place. So in a security perspective, it's a really nice thing to keep it in mind. Regarding the clusters, so we are using a test cluster and prod cluster. So we are splitting our cluster, our test cluster and production cluster, because we need to separate this kind of environments. So the same.
To add on that as well, it's again more of a banking regulatory purpose. We know ROSA is a managed service, and it gives us. We've seen customers running test and fraud in the same, cluster, but I think we were not the lucky ones there to save some cost. But for us, it's more about the bank governance. They just want to have a complete segregation of responsibilities. So they don't want our, developers or even the tech support or things to have access to our production data or cluster. So we have a restricted access in prod, and they get a break glass account only to log into prod for certain instances. So this is that's how we are regulated. In the sandbox, the sandbox, and even we call it sandbox in open banking. Obviously, it's a test environment, and we have some availability criteria as well. The bank have to manage the sandbox at the same SLA as production. So the sandbox also go into prod cluster. All the SIT, UATs, and all of the other ones are hosted in the test cluster. And we have obviously the CI/CD is also segregated in that perspective, So we have Git branching strategy all the way across. So what we follow here is very rigorous to that extent. We get regular audits. As when I say audit, it's not just paper evidence or something. The information security team from one of the large banks, they have a quarterly audits. They come and ask random things, and we have to show them on the screen share, and show them, how we segregate the responsibilities, how we run the DR, and all of that. And it's very crucial for us in that space. Yeah, better carry on with others.
Excellent. Okay, the next topic is replication and disaster recovery. Okay, so we are using EFS for file share and RDS to run our database in the RDS cloud. The replication we are doing from the current region to the DR region for RDS, and EFS. There's no replication, but there is a data sync feature on AWS, what is handling this sync between both regions. And the disaster recovery, actually, if something goes wrong in our current region, we can actually switch it to the DR region. So the steps are, once there is an instance and this current cluster is not working, we need to promote our RDS replica as a master, and then bring all the latest state of our research, our apps, what is released in our current cluster to this DR cluster, and then we can switch the DNS to the AWS Route 53 to this new cluster. So once it's done, we need to do the replication and data sync in the another side. So once we've promoted the RDS to master, we need to create a new replica in our current cluster, because once it's fixed in our current region, we can switch it back. And the support from Red Hat. So in the Red Hat customer portal, there are a couple of things like a knowledge base. So there are so many articles and FAQs what we can actually go through and research what it's need for us. There is a good documentation from Red Hat as well there, what we used to use. And regarding the support from Red Hat, so anything what we were not able to find in this knowledge base or documentation, we can actually ask them, open a ticket in their support portal, or if something goes wrong, any operator, for example, what we are using is outdated and etc. We can actually raise a ticket, and they are able to support us in a reasonable time.
Yeah, just to add as well, so the support again is governed by the SLAs. We have P1, P2, whatever category tickets. So that's also critical, and we have to even show all of this evidence. So because it's a fully managed service, we are in a way offsetting our, risk and care to Red Hat. And this is while we go through ISO certification or through the bank audits, we have to show all of that. How is ticket created? Show me a ticket log. How quickly is it responded? All of that. Did you have any outage? And how did they help? All of this comes into the question. And I've missed for us, this is like a good partnership. Purely, obviously we are paying a premium, and you're getting a premium service as well. There's no doubt about it. But then the way we run and organize ourselves and deal with some of the major clients is where, and also the penalties on us is so high for us, for every, because it's open banking, even though not many people are adopting, but it's in a way labeled as a critical service. It's a essential critical service in the banking world. So even an outage of 5 minutes, 10 minutes will have a high repercussions on us. So far we had been running pretty much 100% available. We have done a lot of cluster upgrades continuously. So you still have to keep the service running or migrate some of our operators to the different one, or upgrade them to different one. And we also have a little bit of a blue-green deployment as well in terms of testing certain things in production. As for all of these things, we have a very good support. Obviously, in terms of day-to-day operation, how do you interact with Red Hat? It's pretty much through tickets we interact, how we talk, and we can be assured that they are an extended team, that they are available 24/7. And we also have a qualified Kubernetes or OpenShift engineers, but certain things you need to also know what's happening. You can't just send everything to Red Hat and say help us and all of that. So yes, you can buy, but still you need to have qualified engineers to run the platform and operate the platform. And sometimes Red Hat engineers, they need to know the context in their own way. What's happening. Tell us in more Kubernetes way or OpenShift way. Don't just give us a application support kind of a material, because it helps us to resolve things quickly. If you're just telling something, they don't know the context, and you have to say, okay, this is where we are stuck, and we did this thing and it's stuck, and help us. Obviously you can't fix it. And there's one more on the security as well. We run CIS benchmarking in AWS Security Hub, because that's a mandatory report that we have to provide it gets we have to deliver every month. And if you're using ROSA, I would say it's pretty clean, apart from the user IAM access and everything. And the findings and all of that is not anything. We have seen few things, but we have accepted that risk in the security hub, which is probably we can't control it because it's a Red Hat team manages and operates. But it's usually it's clean, very clean. There's no major no findings, and that helps us to to say yes, we have taken all the security measures to protect the infrastructure.